Hey there, this is Gribbly. Welcome to the Rec Room Video AMA number 3. As before, we've basically had a Reddit thread up for a few days. We've got a bunch of questions with a bunch of upvotes. I'm going to go through as many of them as I can in upvote order. So let's get started. All right, first question. This one's from David Hall Jr. 15, who asks, what happened to our ancestors? It's obvious from the posters and cardboard cutouts that people used to exist with arms, legs, and necks. They stand there taunting us in dodgeball and paintball, etc., etc. Yeah, okay, I get it. You can see my buddy here. He's got arms where I don't. Look, it's all about efficiency. We decided you're in the virtual world. Let's get rid of anything that doesn't really help. I mean, when you think about it, what do your arms do for you on a day-to-day basis? I mean, basically nothing, right? It's all about the hands. Oh, I took a photo. See, look how useful hands are. Your hands do all of the actual hard work. Your arms are just along for the ride. So we're like, in the virtual world, let's reinvent things. Let's just get rid of the unnecessary stuff. You don't have an appendix either. So hopefully that answers the question. In all seriousness, it's actually something we chat about occasionally. Maybe at some point we should add arms. Maybe we should add legs. Maybe we should add necks to the Rec Room avatars. Wouldn't say it's top of our priority list or anything like that, but we do kind of think about it sometimes. Be interested to hear from players. Do you wish you had arms? Should we be thinking about necks and legs and stuff like that? Let us know. Hit us up on the Discord. Hit us up on the Reddit. Let us know what you think. Jack Attack 22 asks, I would love to have a private mode for Rec Royale without needing 16 people to start. Yeah, we've heard that one a couple of times. Could be interesting. I think what we'll do is we're not currently touching Rec Royale. We're busy with some other stuff. Got some new stuff in the pipe that's pretty exciting, we hope. So I think we'll take a look at that kind of thing when we do Rec Royale Season 2. But for now, player start requirements for Rec Royale are going to stay where they are. Okay. So, Forbim asks, Oculus revealed that AG was looking into what they can build with Oculus Quest. Can you say anything about this? Not much, no. I think what we've said in the past is, certainly we're very excited for the Oculus Quest. For anyone who's not familiar, this is the next headset, the next VR headset coming out from Oculus. It's a standalone headset with really good quality hand tracking, no computer required, no wires, no external PC required. Coming out pretty cheap, great price point. So we couldn't be more excited for that platform. We have a great relationship with Oculus. We've been on the Rift for a long time. We love everything that they're doing. So, take from that what you will. But yeah, we can't really say too much about that other than just to express excitement for that platform. And, just personally, I'm really looking forward to getting one because I think there's going to be all kinds of amazing stuff. And I think it's going to be a really big deal for VR. Beautiful Brian asks, will we ever get the functionality to use the lighting in the cave level with the torch from the Isle of Lost Skulls in custom rooms? So I want to answer this question in two parts. There was a follow-up response on Reddit that I believe was from, Crycut, who asked just, maybe just lighting at all. So yes, we're definitely actively thinking about / working on building towards dynamic lighting in custom rooms so that you can adjust the lighting, move lights around in real time, have way more control over the lighting in your rooms. We think that's a big part of the next step in getting rooms to look better, to look cooler. Not that they don't look cool, but making them look even cooler. So that one for sure, we're actively working on that. As to when exactly it'll roll out, can't say exactly, but yeah, please know that's a high priority for us. That's an important tool in the creator's toolkit, we think, is better lighting. The Isle of Lost Skulls cave level kind of goes one step beyond that into like real-time shadowing that are very dynamic, casting shadows in all kinds of directions. Honestly, I don't know about that one. It's really hard to predict exactly how the lighting stuff we're doing is going to work. So we'll know more after we've got that done. But yeah, I would say probably okay to start holding your breath for lighting. I wouldn't hold your breath for holding a torch and having all the crazy dynamic shadows in the near term for custom rooms. Okay, hope that answers the question. All right, Zombie Pete asks, I love the bowling update. Personally, I find it a very convincing bowling simulation. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, thank you for the kind words. We appreciate that. Glad people are enjoying bowling. I think it's really fun as well. Okay, what's the question here? Are there any plans to help streamline the game and get people where they need to be when it's their turn? Surprisingly frustrating to play a game with a bunch of people right now, especially younger players who aren't paying attention or taking into consideration the experience of others. Yeah, join button, timer, leaderboard. Yeah, so you probably noticed that with everything, we tend to iterate on stuff based on feedback we get. So we've definitely heard that a few times. We'll look into that. Sounds like there's some simple things we can do. We definitely thought of this bowling room as kind of as much of a social experience as it is a game experience. We may have leaned a little too heavily into the social part. But yeah, we'll look into all of that. In the meantime, just, hey, go round people up, tell them what they're doing. You can always use private rooms, play with your friends, if you really, really want to have a strict, serious game. But yeah, we can probably look at a couple of those things. I totally hear what you're saying. Now, let me embarrass myself by trying to get a strike live on camera. Okay, here goes. Close enough. Exode Rec Room asks, any clue if we are getting any more ways to get tokens? It's too painful to grind for one item, then you all add a sweet new one, have to save for both. Some suggestions here. So yeah, actually, as we've kind of alluded to many times since we launched, we are going to start allowing people to pay money for some things, and that's actually coming pretty soon. So a new way to get tokens is going to be that you'll be able to buy them. Yes, with actual real money. So the plan is to roll this out kind of in, our usual very kind of limited experimental way towards the end of this year. And so it's looking like we'll do it on PC first. So PC players will be able to buy tokens and, kind of we'll all collectively dip our toe in that pool before the end of the year. So if everything goes according to plan, that'll be a new way to get tokens for sure. As for bowling not giving you rewards, I didn't read that part out, but that was in your question. It's a bug. We'll fix it. So you'll start getting rewards for bowling. All right. Okay, now we got another question from David Hall Jr. 15. From the AMA number 1, who does the voice of Coach? The rumor, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I think we already covered this in AMA number 1. Coach does the voice of Coach. Strikes me as a very weird question. Who does the voice of Coach? It's Coach. So yeah, many times as you ask this question, answer's always going to be the same. Coach does the voice of Coach. All right, moving on. So next question is from A. Jack Daniels. Do the devs develop in VR? Okay, interesting question. So, yeah. If the question is, do we type all the code in VR and do all of that kind of stuff? No, we do. Most of the coding is done. Pretty much all the coding is done on traditional PCs. With monitors, that workflow is still easier than anything in VR that we have yet. But certainly when we test the games, when we tune, we test in VR all the time. And typically one of our internal tests look like we got a bunch of people on every VR platform. We got a few people in screen mode. And yeah, we really try and cover all the bases there. So yeah, we develop in VR in that sense. You look around the Against Gravity office. At any given moment, you're going to see, 4 or 5 people in VR. If someone was walking past me right now in the office, they'd see me in VR. But yeah, so we kind of develop in VR in that sense. But yeah, if we're like, hey, are we 24/7 jacked into the matrix, typing all our code in VR and stuff like that? Not yet. All right, good question. Thank you. Next question comes from Marek Soon, who asks, lyrics of the theme song, please. Otherwise, I'm going to keep singing Bouncy Gravity. Bouncy Gravity. Yeah, man, this is... Okay, great question. This one's a real conflict for me because honestly, it is so delightful to read what people speculate the lyrics are. Bouncy Gravity. I read through the kind of, someone transcribed what they thought the lyrics were. Not even close. But I feel like I've been kind of evasive this AMA. I feel like I'm being vague too much. So I guess I can give you something. Yes, I can definitely confirm the first words are Rec Room Baby, as in baby. It's like, hey, what is this thing I've launched into? It's Rec Room, baby. Kind of works like that. The other words, man, how about this? If it comes up again next AMA, I'll go through the real thing. But in the meantime, I love reading the speculation and how just incredibly wrong you're all getting it. It's hilarious. So, Meme Stealer 6000 asks, Could you possibly make a history of Rec Room video showcasing different major events, updates, popular trends, and otherwise in a timeline of Rec Room from 2016 to now? I would love to see that. Yeah, hey, so would I. That'd be great. Honestly, I think we're a bit busy kind of like building what comes next for Rec Room to really take the time to do a comprehensive retrospective. There is plenty of stuff online, and as I think someone responded on Reddit, let me just check. Yeah, David Hall Jr., actually. Thank you for your questions, David, and thank you for this answer. There is a player tribute room series in-game. There's a room called 2 Whole Years. So that's room symbol 2 TWO whole years. This was made by a bunch of the community, a bunch of people who are in the community team participated in this. And it was a really lovely, touching tribute that kind of goes through the history of Rec Room and the order in which features came online. And that's a wonderful thing. It's like, as when I went through that room, I don't mind telling you, I was a little misty under my headset. So that's a fun one to check out. 2 Whole Years. There's also fun stuff on YouTube of some of the really old builds of Rec Room. But yeah, I'm with you. I think one day, like I've said before, our aspiration is to keep growing Rec Room as big and as strong as we can get it. And surely the day will come where it'll make sense to do a retrospective of started at the bottom, now we're here, all that kind of thing. I just don't think that time is now. I think we're really focused on continuing to build out the crazy. So thanks for the question. All right, next question. Let's see. Philtrap asks, will we get to see an AG booth at PAX East next year? Short answer, no. We're just super busy building out the game. We love PAX, super fun. We have people who go, visit PAX, both as devs and just as enthusiasts. But yeah, no, we're not planning to do a booth. So, maybe one of us will be there casually. But we're more likely to just browse it online and stay focused on building the next thing for Rec Room. All right, moving on. Here's one from Daffik who asks, this is a weird question as I know devs don't usually backtrack, but if you had the option, would you do something with the old rec center like bringing it back? I think it could be useful as a hub for blah, blah, blah. I've always preferred the old one. Love to hear your opinion on it. Yeah, I mean, you're right. We don't generally like to backpack. We don't generally like to backtrack. We're very focused on kind of creating the new things. And I think that applies in this case. Definitely people who've been playing Rec Room for a long time have nostalgia for the previous rec center and the previous rec center, and then the previous rec center, which was called the locker room. Look, never say never. I can imagine a future where we still have those assets in the database. It probably wouldn't be a ton of work to kind of dust them off and bring them back. But to be perfectly honest, we're way more focused on creating the next tools for creating custom rooms, creating the next quest, rather than kind of looking backwards and trying to keep some of the older stuff working. So I hear, I know, there's definitely good memories bound up with those places, and this is not a hard no. This is more like, not a top priority right now. I think once we get all of the systems, especially the creation systems, to a point, where we feel like we don't have, 84 priority 1 things that we wish we could have done yesterday, then we might be able to get to some stuff like, hey, let's dust off the historic rec centers and stuff like that. So, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but maybe one day. Okay, Frankie XOP Gaming YT asks, will you be able to add a phone to the watch to call and talk to people in different rooms? Yeah, it's a fun idea. I mean, we do have the chat system right now. I think, if we're going to do this, the format we'll likely take is, rather than making a phone call and talking to them in real time like voice chat, probably integrate it with the text chat system that you already have, enable you to put voice messages in there. And as I think it was, who was it who said this? Crycut replied and said, or little holotars like Star Wars. I personally love that idea. I love the idea of being able to go into your watch, go to your chats, and instead of typing a message, you can just press a button and kind of go, hey, it's me, let's meet up at 7:30 on Friday night, play some paintball or whatever. And send that as a little holotar so that when you open, you get a message from Gribbly. You open it up, whoop, here comes Tiny Gribbly, and he's like, hey, we're going to play paintball. I think that'd be really cool. So, I don't have a specific timeline for that. Definitely something that's we think would be awesome to do. And we kind of have most of the pieces. We have the chat system. We have the kind of friends list and everything, so we know who you would want to send it to. And we have the holotars. So putting all those pieces together shouldn't be too hard. But hey, I don't have to code it, so it's easy for me to say. All right, so this question is from Real Drag the J, who asks, Rec Royale Season 2. How big will there be an overhaul, frontier pass, map, weapons? I'm really hyped for CBM and Season 2. Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of said it right there in the question. Right now our focus is very much on CBM. That's Crescendo of the Blood Moon. That's the next quest we're doing. We're deep into that one. And so we're kind of more focused on that and haven't planned out fully the Season 2 of Rec Royale. So can't really tell you exactly what's going to be in it. We're hoping to do something cool there, of course. So now would be a great time for feedback to come in on that. So on the Reddit, on the Discord, what kinds of things do you want to see in Season 2? And yeah, that'll go on our list and we'll see what we can do. All right, this question is from Ajax Daniels, who asks, when are we getting go-karts? This question is from Natty Sonata, who asks, what was the most surprising thing about Obat's performance of The Princess Bride? Okay, so here Natty Sonata is talking about Obat, that's the Orange Brigade acting troupe, and their recent performance of an adaptation of The Princess Bride. Like, this was a full-length, I think it was like 90-minute play that they put on, that they rehearsed for months and months, that I was able to go see. It was amazing. It was really, really amazing. So what was surprising about that, other than the fact that it happened and, you guys did such an amazing job of it? I think the two things really stood out for me. One, as a bit of a gizmo and circuit nerd, I really loved, there's one part where there's a crowd scene, and the crowd is built out of Maker Pen, kind of little meeples, and they kind of like turn around and like walk off the stage, and that's obviously all being driven by circuits and gizmos. I thought that was incredibly clever. There was definitely a moment where I was like, wow, I would never have thought of that. That was very cool. But probably, other than that very specific kind of circuity thing, honestly, something that surprised me was how much it felt like going to a real play. Sitting there, watching people act it out, it really felt like I'd gone to a high school play or something like that, or a community theater play. It was genuinely funny. It was genuinely entertaining. And it really felt like, being there with performers that kind of had that live performance feel. So it was surprising to me how strong that feeling was and how cool that was to see. So yeah, huge fan of the Orange Bucket acting troupe. Massive respect for the amount of work that went into that. That was just truly an amazing Rec Room event. So thank you for that. Wait, I'm not done. Okay, sorry. I thought of one more thing, actually. This is still on the Orange Bucket acting troupe Princess Bride play. I forgot one thing. Yeah, one thing that kind of stood out to me is, like, honestly, for a long time, I've been thinking we should get rid of, when you do your facial expressions, we kind of have the thought bubble that pops up with the big expression in it. And for most use cases, I don't really like that. Like, I think it looks kind of goofy, gets in the way in photos. I think, generally speaking, you just want the facial expression. So one thing that surprised me was, like, watching a play where the distance between me in the audience and the performer on the stage is much greater than a usual social interaction. It was surprising how much the thought bubble on expressions popped on the stage and really really added something to the actors' repertoire. So they could be like, there was like kissing scenes and both actors would kind of do this at the same time. And that would really sell the idea as like a kind of theatrical, kind of like big exaggerated motion. And I never really thought about the expression system and the thought bubbles in that way. So that was also very surprising and kind of like, So yeah, just one more thing I wanted to add. This question is from Ice is Hard Water. So there's the song that was in the preview loading screen, and this was one of my favorite tracks in the game. It's a shame it was never used in anything. Just wondering, is it content that never made it into the quest, or is it preview only, blah, blah, blah? Can you elaborate on what it was intended to be used for? So yeah, that one was the accordion piece. We call that one the Pirate Quest Waltz or the Pirate Waltz. And actually, yeah, that was just kind of part of making the music for Pirate Quests. That's kind of got the Pirate Quest main theme in it. And actually, if you listen behind me, the reason I came into this room, you can hear the Swash and Buckle merch booth shopping channel music. I call this the pirate shopping channel music. It's the exact same melody, exact same chords, just done in a very different style. And so yes, that's just the main Pirate Quest theme. That was one of the things we did on the way to getting that music right. And it kind of worked really well for the loading screen, or the preview screen. So yeah, just kind of didn't end up in the final game, but we had it from the development, so kind of used it for the loading screen. It worked really well there. And actually, if you go to bowling and look in the jukebox, there's a version of that exact same track played on the piano. Same thing, just something that kind of happened on the way to doing the music for the Pirate Quest, or Isle of Lost Skulls. And yeah, it just didn't fit into the actual game. And, you know, I think for all of the quests, there's like little offcuts and bits and pieces of music and things that aren't in the actual quest, but are sitting around and we like to use for various things. But yeah. Okay, here we go. Strangosaurus asks, anything you can tell us about when the release of Crescendo of the Blood Moon or a preview of it will be? Not asking for a specific date, but it would be nice to know if we'll be seeing anything up from maybe this month or the next. Okay, so let me get one thing out of the way. I've seen some speculation about this on the forums. So Crescendo of the Blood Moon is not going to be out on Halloween or before Halloween. I know it kind of makes sense because it's a bit of a spooky theme. But yeah, it won't be landing before then. So if you were like hoping for a Halloween night surprise of Crescendo of the Blood Moon, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's going to be a little bit after that. But it is coming soon. We are not far away. We've got the next update will not be it. Next update is kind of more focused on a bunch of creation tools and a bunch of bug fixes. But yeah, but it's coming. It's coming. It's not far away. Don't want to get more specific than that. But yeah, just wanted to get it out there. Not going to land on Halloween because I know some people have been speculating that that's when it'll be. Sadly, no. All right. Question from Krungus Mungo, who asks, will non-human skin colors ever get added to Rec Room? It would be great to dress up as a green orc or a green vampire for Halloween, maybe body paint consumables. That's a really fun idea. You know, possibly others on the team have talked about it. I know I haven't really talked about the idea of body paint consumables. I'd say that's a lot more likely than supporting permanent kind of like super weird colors. But yeah, that's a really fun idea. Let me raise it with the team, and we'll see where that goes. Thank you for the suggestion. All right, starting to run low on time here, so let me see if I can burn through a bunch of these questions here. So Callum the Cluelum asks, I missed one. Wait a second. Darsog asks, will we get the ability to switch accounts in the near future? It's a minor pain in the butt to switch accounts so my kids can play. Yeah, agreed. That one's on our list. I got to be honest, it's pretty low on our list relative to a bunch of other stuff that we want to get done. As you say, it is a relatively minor pain in the butt, and so while we'd love to make that happen, not something we're planning to focus on in the near term, but something you can expect eventually. So yeah, don't hold your breath. Sorry, Darsog. Okay, Callum the Clueless asks, what is the max amount of players in one Crescendo, yes I can spell, well done, of the Blood Moon game? So in our most recent playtest, it's looking like 3. You know, so this a little bit like ILS, you know, 3-player max. You know, the spacing, the way the kind of weapons are playing out, the way the enemies are playing out. This one's really feeling best as a 3-player quest. We're, you know, really having a great time in our playtesting with that cap. So I think this one's going to be a 3-player quest. Okay. Let's see. The Real Party Cat. Will there ever be any tournaments for any of the activities in the game? Maybe a token prize. So for sure right now there are community organized tournaments, definitely for paintball, sometimes for dodgeball. I wouldn't be amazed if we saw a bowling league happen at some point. Something I want to suggest is, you know, well, first of all, I should say, you know, I think we're not really going to be organizing leagues or lengthy tournaments. As I keep saying throughout this AMA, you know, we got a ton of stuff we want to do to kind of add the next round of features and, you know, upgrade everything in Rec Room. So what we hope is that players will kind of like group together and form these leagues and, you know, kind of get together to play. And I would suggest checking out the event system. If you haven't looked at the event system, It exists on both RecNet and in the watch. You can find it right in the home screen. You can create events, find events. So setting up like a league bowling night or something is pretty easy with the event system. And yeah, I'd really encourage you to give it a try. That's really what the event system is intended to do, is to make it as easy as possible to be like, I want to play this specific thing in Rec Room, and I want people to play with me. So I want everyone to kind of gather together at a specific time. That's what the event system is for. So you're like, hey, I want to do a bowling tournament, highest score wins. I'd say that's a really good way to do it. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Hungary 115 says, any plans on adding neon lights? And will you bring go-karts back? I think I answered that one. So on neon lights, yeah, I kind of talked about lighting earlier. That's definitely something that's higher on our list for the creation features, is giving way more control over lighting. So that includes things like transparent materials, materials that can emit their own glow. So yes is the short answer. Can't tell you exactly when, but we want to get that done. Let's see. Senket's Reddit says, you've been mentioning giving us the ability to package up and move Maker Pen objects for a while now. When do you plan on releasing this to us? And if you can't tell us that, then how much progress has been made? Oh, if this gets read out on video, can you please refer to me as Monty? Okay, Monty. So yeah, great question. So yeah, I have talked about that before, the ability to kind of like take part of a room and package it up as an object and save it and restore it and then share it. We're now internally calling that Rec Room Creations. So, one part of a room, like, I don't know if you can see it in the camera shot, there's a snowman over there. You could package that up as a Rec Room Creation, save that, go to a different room, load it into the next room. And we're pretty sure we're going to get that done before the end of the year. That's definitely our goal. And we're actively working on it right now. Following on from that will be the ability to share those creations between, from one player to the next. Not sure if that'll land in the year. If we can do it, great. Otherwise, that'll be coming quickly afterwards. But yeah, definitely the ability to save Rec Room creations and bring them back. We're trying really, really hard to get that done before the end of the year. Okay, what else we got here? Forbum asks, with the forthcoming Knuckles controllers, are there any plans for finger gestures that are only available on Oculus Touch and Valve Knuckles? Eventually, yes. So I think what we want to see is, we want to see that get to critical mass and see like, a majority of players have access to that before we invest too deeply in providing features that only a small subset of the player base can use. Love the Knuckles, they're real cool. I think that, the more fidelity we get into hand tracking, generally speaking, the better it is. But yeah, our approach is definitely to support a wide array of players as best we can. So we'll wait a little bit on that until those controllers are in more hands. Dragon Fury God asks, do you think you would ever add a transparent block for custom rooms where you can look through it, but the object pushes you back, just like the big windows in the new Rec Center? Yes, yeah. So again, kind of similar to Rec Room Creations, very much hoping to land that before the end of the year, something that we're actively looking at. Very common request. We know that people want it. Doesn't look like it's too hard for us to do. So yes, we're on that one. All right, let's see. I might do two more. Okay, Rob TM. I've got two questions to throw out there. I'll do the first one. Will there be more functionality for creating custom rooms in screen mode? The ability to fly and maintain a first-person POV would be a start, as well as making the creator pen stay perfectly still, blah, 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 etc., etc. While I mostly play in VR, the steadiness in building from controllers would be a great tool in precision building. So yeah, that's something we've been looking at. We have some pretty fun prototypes internally now of using creation tools in screen mode. And as of the next update, you should be able to start playing with a much improved version of that. So that's something we're actively working on. Next update, as I mentioned earlier, is very much focused on the creation tools. Got a lot of upgrades to the Maker Pen especially. And yeah, some improvements to screen mode creation coming. So that should be pretty cool. Let's see. Forbim, I got two from Forbim here. What's the current thinking at AG about locomotion? While RecReal was rolled out, there was talk about more experiments with locomotion, but I haven't heard nor seen much about that recently. Yeah, so plan remains the same. Timing remains a little bit unknown. So, to recap what we did around, right after RecReal, Recreal and the Recreal experiment, if you remember that one, was kind of formalized that we had three kinds of basic player locomotion. We have teleport VR, we have walk VR, and we have screen, who also walk. And then things like flying, vehicles, climbing, anything else like that will be handled as variant locomotion. That is still the plan. We're just trying to figure out, where we can kind of squeeze that in from a scheduling point of view. So I don't have anything specific to talk about today, but that remains the plan. And so I think, what I'm looking to do is, flying is a very useful tool in custom rooms, both for creation and for playing various games. Like, if you want to like fly around in your game, I think we want to kind of upgrade that to be a proper variant locomotion style and figure out the way that should plug in and how it should interact with roles and permissions and circuits and game states and all that kind of stuff. And then once we've got one done, that'll give us the pattern to plug in the rest. But yeah, what I said before is still true. Just kind of when we get that done, a little hard to say. Forbim asks, on PC, will we see the display of other players' cameras again? Or is that feature dead for the foreseeable future? Yeah, it's probably dead for the foreseeable future. Just doesn't work well on all the platforms, and it doesn't seem to stop people taking pretty fun photos. It's always a challenge kind of rendering multiple views of things in different scenes. Maybe we'll look into bringing it back just on the PC where you get a little bit more performance headroom. But yeah, not something we've been thinking about actively. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I think I got to call it there. I think I'm out of time. Thanks again for all the questions. We'll do this again. Hopefully this was helpful. So the next kind of big things happening for us, we're going to make a pen update coming soon. We got Crescendo of the Blood Moon coming soon. And yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, if you got more feedback, more questions, criticisms, comments, praise, any kind of feedback you want to give us, come find us on the Discord, come find us on the Reddit. You can check out our Instagram now that we've had up and running for a while. But yeah, hope to see you in Rec Room. Thanks for playing.